DEI is not the same as black people or brown people. If I had a cheeseburger for every time somebody conflated these two things, I would be a hippopotamus. The soggiest crustacean brains on the moldy sponge left are conflating these two things to make it seem like any time a person brings up DEI, they're like, oh, this is just coded language for whites to just say how they really feel. Literally no, sponge. DEI is just a catch-all term to go from a merit-based system to an equal outcome-based system, aka an inequality system. Equal outcome is not equality. Equality is no preferential treatment based on anything other than merit. Equal outcome, of which DEI is based, means that if we do not all end up at the same place, we will artificially adjust the results to fit the perceived equality of distribution of opportunities. DEI essentially presumes that if there is an outcome and there is not a distribution of people that include these attributes, then it must have been because of some type of discrimination. And it includes more than just race. It's also gender, it's also orientation, and a multitude of other different things. And the reason that DEI is so toxic is because while theoretically well-meaning, it has the opposite outcome of its stated intent. If a merit-based outcome does not include people from some protected class, which is essentially everything but straight white men for the most part, it essentially presumes that everybody and every system for the most part is discriminating. And therefore, the only equalizer or protection against this discrimination is some sanctioned process by the bureaucracy or some law or rule or decree. But where it gets crusty is where the rubber meets the road, when there are not enough qualified candidates to fill a slate of positions that has some type of requirement. The easiest way to understand this is a earned position based on standardized test scores, placements, or minimum requirements. And when the persons don't meet those minimum requirements or place higher under the specific standard testing rules, they have to adjust them in order to place those people. If the requirement was there must be 20% of your applicants have to be women, then if the women did not meet those standard requirements, they would have to reduce those requirements, meaning reduce the necessary test scores or reduce the minimum capacity of what a person needs in order to qualify, which ultimately means that a higher scoring, higher ranking, or more capable candidate would be overlooked for that person, specifically because they met those DEI requirements, meaning that it is no longer merit-based. As a general rule of thumb, capitalism and free markets have a way of naturally managing this process on its own. It is always in the best interest of the organization to have the most qualified and meritorious candidate for a position to secure the highest possible outcomes, to outcompete the other organizations that are doing a similar thing. If it was firefighting, for example, the most capable person of saving the most lives. In a safety-based position, the most qualified and capable person of reducing your risk. In a business, the most qualified person that would earn you the most return, help you to best compete with your competitors. Discrimination in any of these positions actually makes you less viable in the marketplace. Meaning that if you had a board of directors at some corporation that refused to hire women because it just didn't like women, for example, it was discriminating against women, your competition would hire those more capable women. If those women were in fact better than the male candidates for that job, the other corporation would get those higher quality women, those more merit-based women, and they would beat you in the marketplace. Your discrimination would ruin your business's ability to grow and thrive and prosper. Your discrimination would hinder your ability to create success. But it is ultimately the bureaucrat that finds somebody to blame in these types of situations. They say, you are a victim of this thing, and the only person who can help you, who can save you from this issue is me. Give me your selection. Give me your ballot. By removing your personal responsibility and putting you into a victimhood class, you're able to just dismiss your lack of outcome on some external factor that you can't control. And thus, you have to wait for that bureaucrat to level the playing field. It's like if somebody told you your business can't succeed because you don't have $10,000. So instead of thinking of ways for you to make it work, you say, well, I gotta just wait till somebody gives me the $10,000. That's why I'm not winning. What's actually so funny about the supposedly anti-discriminatory practice of DEI is it is, in fact, in and of itself, discrimination. It discriminates against merit, regardless of your immutable characteristics, orientation, or whatever. What it also does is it makes the marketplace question the capacity and qualifications of people who actually earn positions based on merit that also fit into those DEI initiatives. So it makes people wonder, if you are a person that earned this position, but you also possess X attribute, did you earn it based on merit, or was it because you were placed there with DEI? This creates a low trust society and a low trust organization. Just like all theoretically well-meaning government programs, it has the opposite outcome of its stated intent. AKA, it backfires. Until people contained within the protected classes of which DEI entails start to realize that us pointing this out is not because we're discriminating against them, but this is truly in fact a problem and a hindrance to positive progress, we'll be stuck in the same place because they're always going to play the victim. What's actually interesting is that if you actually earned this position or had the merit to qualify at the top of the competition for a certain thing, you would be the most against DEI, even if you possessed one of the stated protected classes. You would want people to know that you earned this position based upon your qualifications and merit. So in theory, the only people that would be for it would be people that couldn't otherwise qualify, that didn't otherwise have the merit to get there. There has never been a more equal playing field for any person of any protected class or non-protected class to succeed based on merit in the history of human existence. And there has been no other nation more based and founded upon this principle than the United States of America. So if you're advocating for this type of system, it means you fall in one of two categories. Category 1, you don't possess the skills or qualifications to qualify for a position, so you blame it on discrimination and need someone else to equal the playing field. Not even playing field, outcome. Or category 2, you want to emotionally manipulate your audience to believe that they are being discriminated against, to curry favor to support your other existing ideals, viewpoints, and perspectives. A lot of personal benefit can be derived by feeding into the delusions of your audience. And nobody benefits more from this practice than media pundits and bureaucrats. We need DEI to go DOA. We need soggy brains to get back to work. So get back to work, you soggy sponge. If you were a dirt star, you'd have the run. Choose your goals and be ruthless. Brush your teeth or stay toothless. Or have a soggy brain and you can stay clueless.